Amongst us, our next invited speaker, Mr. Arjun Chetri. Arjun Chetri is currently the Assistant Director IT in Northeastern Police Academy, Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India. His international certification includes Celebrite Certified Operator and Celebrite Certified Physical Analyzer, Computer Hacking Forensic Investigator from EC Council US, Red Hat Certified System Administrator from Red Hat Linux, Cisco Certified Network Associate from Cisco Academy, Certified Information Security Expert from INOVAS. He has delivered lectures at various universities, Judiciary Academy, Indian Air Force, etc. as a resource person. He has written various national and international research papers. It's really an honor to have you, sir, amongst us. Over to you, sir.
In half an hour, I think we'll not be able to do the justice on the topic that is given to us. But I'll definitely try whatever possible from my side. Okay. For that, let me share the screen. Okay. So, as we already know, there are many issues, right? Just now, Moitan has narrated that there are many issues, like starting from Stuxnet to the latest thing, what she has demonstrated, the drugs. We are talking about technology. We are slowly and gradually we are dependent on this platform. Okay. Initially, technology was built to assist human being, but now we are completely dependent on that. So it is able to assist us in the best possible way. So if you go through some of the progress of technology or evolution of threats, okay, you will find that it grows exponentially. So that's how the cybercrime is increasing, and the main reason why it is increasing is when there is a crowd, there is a business, and when there is a business, there is a crime. Okay, and that is the reason expert like you people, like cyber expert or digital forensic expert, are always in need. There are other reasons why it is increasing because this entire uh, cyberspace is a small village. People from across globe are communicating on this platform, and this is nothing but a uh, village, right? From one end to the other end, you just have to click. It is between your device and your finger. You can touch wherever you want to go, and you will reach that platform, right? So it is same thing for the criminal also. So if criminal want to reach your device, they just have to get one vulnerability, and then they will be inside your device. It's just like one simple click and they are into your device. So that is the reason why it is dangerous crime, why it is exponentially increasing. More to that, they are safe because there are so many tools, okay, which are publicly available to allow them to remain anonymous. Okay, they will be very much anonymous. They cannot be identified. They can create any profile with any name, and that is the reason why it's increasing. And as already said by Mountain, technical, right, script kiddies or this type of people are more in the market, right? They can hack using other tools without knowing the consequences. From the investigation, as I'm giving the given the topic of investigation, let me talk. It is nothing but identification, collection, and preservation of evidence, as far as the duty of IO is concerned. But identification of evidence is the big challenge at present. Basically, it is not easy for any investigator to simply go and find the evidences in cyberspace. Okay, it is not easy for cyber forensic expert also, digital forensic expert also, to extract the evidence from the storage devices or from the transit. Okay, the evidence from the transit. It is not that easy. Uh, if you again, I'll say in this also there are a huge number of changes day by day. The evidences which are there, the devices which are there in the market are increasing, and slowly and gradually these devices which we are supposed to consider for teaser are increasing. Take an example, the simple watch is converted into a smart watch, which is now we have to consider as a source of digital evidence. Uh, Even a simple pen, okay, it's now having a capability of storing the evidences. So huge range of devices are now having a storage facility. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. Uh, for the investigation, IP address is the main important point. Okay, tracing of IP address. I think all of you know. In this platform, we need some of the background knowledge, like network, IP address, computer system, storage media, and all this. So on that, IP address is one of the important thing which we need to understand. So here in the, if you start investigating for investigation for IO, he needs to start from the receiving end, and from receiving end, if you want to go back, then there are so many intermediaries involved in that communication channel. Like if you think from email point of view, there are email servers. If you think from social network point of view, there is a social network platform like Facebook or WhatsApp or any other. So there are intermediaries where iOS is not having a control. Okay, iOS is not having a control. They have to rely on these intermediaries. So using intermediaries help, they will be getting the IP address, and then the public IP address, and then they will start investigations. If they are not able to get the public IP address, they will definitely not be able to investigate in a proper way. Okay, if they get the IP address, if they are able to trace the person, okay, take an example, sending a threatening mail to someone, then from the receiving end, if take an example, Isa got a threatening mail from Arjun Chetri. In that case, Isa have to complain to police, right? And police have to react on that. So from the mail what she received, there they have to find out the IP address. Once they got that IP address through the intermediaries, they will trace me back. There are number of things to do on that. Getting a reply from an email server, going to the ISP, internet service provider, getting the IP detail, getting a user, doing an IPDR analysis, and then finally locating Arjun Chetri. Arjun Chetri means not the person, the device, what was used by the Arjun Chetri. Okay, it is the mobile or the laptop which is used by the Arjun Chetri. And then after that, locating that device, they have to seize this device. That is where we should be having a pre-search preparation. We should expect that this is a crime and this is the age where technology are involved. So we should have a pre-search preparation stage for the IO, the investigating officer. So what they do in the pre-search preparation, they basically collect tools, okay, which are required to seize the evidence. Take an example, the collection of a RAM, right? If they want to seize the mobile, then they should have a tools like Faraday bag or a signal blocking. They should know how to put the device in a airplane mode. They should know how to keep the phone in a charging mode, right? All these things are very, very important. So they will do this pre-search preparation. And then after doing this pre-search preparation, they will physically go to the search and seizure in the crime scene. During the search and seizure, there are some process to be followed. Okay, they will go to the crime scene. They will do a they will secure the crime scene, right? And then they already have the tool, so they will run the tools on this system and collect the evidences. Okay, evidences like if it is a laptop or a computer, then the RAM data they will extract. If it is a computer, say desktop, then they will collect the uh, hard drive. Okay, if the system is on, then different procedure to follow. If the system is off, then the different procedure to follow. After that, the documentation, packing, and transportation. Here is the most important for all the digital forensic expert or the IO to know is that the computer never lie. Okay. Computer will never lie. You tell the followed the procedure or not. Whether if he followed the procedure, how he followed the procedure, whether that procedure was correct or not correct. Everything is there in the system. Actually, the system is also maintaining a evidence, the log file. Okay, so that log file will speak. And then the role of a digital forensic expert comes into play. Okay, the last stage is the forensic expert who is going to analyze that digital evidence collected from the crime scene. Okay, let us go one by one. Okay, as I say, that was a overall investigation stage that I have explained to you. This is the CDR. Okay, so let me go to the same example. What I said from Arjun Chetri is getting a threatening mail. If that is the case, so moment the IP address is revealed nowadays, IP and the mobile phone are almost connected because we all use mobile phone for data connection, or we are using a phone for internet access through Wi-Fi. So somewhere both the things are connected. So at present, the investigation, the IO, moment the investigation starts, they will look for the CDR data. If it is a bomb blast, if it is a threatening call, if it is anything, they will start with the CDR. So from CDR, they will try to know what all the person was doing, whom the person was connected, that phone or the mobile number can be a fake data, okay, fake identity. Someone's else other card may be used for getting the SIM card, but all but the calls what the person was making is a genuine call. So if Arjun Chetri is getting a SIM card in the name of Motan, okay, but Arjun Chetri is making a call to his friend, then that friend circle can be evidence that it was not Motan, it was Arjun Chetri. So that is how the investigation works. So it is not only the data, the subscriber details is not actually the data now. It is the call data or the SMS. So this is where the analysis is starts. Okay, and especially in case of Geo or some other platforms, it is possible that we can get the geolocation or geolocated location data and all. So these are very useful tool for the police investigator. And in case of IP, we have a very good collection of data, that is the IPDR. All the network connected, okay, entire network connections detail and everything can be analyzed, and that scenario can be rebuilt using the IPDR. So that is where the IPDR comes into play. So as I said, investigation, whenever they start from the CDR. After that, if they come to know something, then they will go one step ahead and write to the intermediaries through uh, a letter we called as 91 CRPC. CRPC is a criminal procedure, this law using which we can write to any intermediaries to provide the data. So they will provide the data, but the success of the investigation depends completely on the response of the intermediaries. Sometimes intermediaries create a problem, they don't respond in a proper way. If the intermediaries are outside India, okay, if they are outside India, intermediaries are outside India, then they create more issues. They don't reply because of data privacy law and all this of those countries. Okay, especially the GDPR is very dangerous for the law enforcement at present. So after that, if they are able to trace the person, then the search and seizure is performed. So as I said, pre-search preparation, if we think of, there are three steps to follow. There are three things which are major thing. Okay, one is to have a forensically clean device to store the evidence. Second, to have a authenticated tools or the good tools. Okay, and the third is a team. the team have a different role to play, starting from the cameraman to the forensic expert or the technically sound person along with the police to perform the duty of acquisition and all this. So in US, okay, every IO is followed by a forensic expert. But in India, we only have IO. We don't have a forensic expert to go. Maybe in near future, when you have enough number of forensic expert or the digital forensic expert, government may come up with the idea of having a IO along with a forensic expert. So every IO followed by a forensic expert may happen in India in future. But at present, we don't have such facility. So IO have to learn and carry the forensic expert in his brain. So that is the reason where many mistakes are also made by IO while collecting evidences. Okay, if the computer is on, basically there are two steps to follow. One, they have to collect the volatile data, and the second, they have to collect the. Yeah, there was a question. Can I answer that right now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, question was who are the IOs, investigating officer? Basically, the police officer who is handling that case is the IO. Okay, so for every case there is a investigating officer. One investigating officer is assigned to each case. So that IO, in cybercrime, it can be a inspector and above. But in a general crime, because nowadays digital evidences are involved in every crime. If it is a threatening call, there is a, if it is a murder, there is everything, any theft, okay, anything happening in your house, police is going to do the CDR analysis. So definitely there is an evidence involved. When the culprit is culprit is catched, okay, when the person who created a problem, the criminal mind, okay, if that person is caught, then definitely they are going to analyze the device. So forensic expert is required. So there are two steps, as I was telling. One is collection of volatile data, and second is collection of the permanent storage device like RAM, hard drive, or anything else. Nowadays, the computers are there, the laptop are there, where you cannot remove the uh, hard drive. In that case, you cannot seize the hard drive sometime. In that case, we have to do live acquisition of those hard drives. Okay, we have to create the image of those hard drives. So there are two steps. One is volatile data collection, and one is the permanent data, the permanent storage media. The most important is the hash value calculation. Okay, this in India, basically we are doing at present, we are doing in the forensic lab. Basically the IO send a hard drive or whatever evidence he collected, he will give to the forensic expert in the lab, and then forensic expert will do the hashing. Just try to understand this scenario. A hard drive is seized from a crime scene today, and they are going to calculate the hash value maybe tomorrow, because it will take time to take that hard drive to the crimes to the forensic lab. So there is a question mark. There are so many lawyers who question on this in the court, why this hash value is not calculated in the crime scene, when the guidelines say, I'm not talking about the guidelines from India. It's a global guidelines say that the hash value should be calculated at the crime scene. It was observed in many cases that the hash value are calculated after 2-3 days, sometime after a week. So there is a question mark to the IO also. They will say that the evidence are manipulated by the police. So there are so many things. So these are some of the challenges at present. But technological challenges, yes, there are many. Like intermediaries are not cooperating, as I said. Delay in evidence collection. There are many servers which are not there in India. Say Facebook. We don't have a Facebook server. Copy of a Facebook server we don't have. So we have to rely on Facebook to respond. Even in a emergency cases, they say that they will reply within 3 weeks. So that itself is a long time. Okay. So if it is a woman related crime or a child related crime or a murder or a nation threat, they say that they will reply in 3 weeks. So it's a big time for the criminal to escape, right? criminal to modify the evidence, criminal to erase the evidence. So there are many things. And another part, digital evidence is extremely volatile or fragile, right? I'll use the word fragile. So here, if the IO is not properly trained or not knowledgeable, or if it is not trained properly, then there is a high probability that the evidence is tampered or evidence is going to be invalid, right? A court is not going to accept. So trained cyber cops are very few in our country. Okay, so in an extreme end, it may possible that we are not able to connect the person and the digital profile. Okay, take an example. Crime was happened from this device. Okay, this is my device, but in a court, I may say that this device I lost, and I have lodged a FIR 2 weeks back from the date of that crime. Okay, so on a particular day, take an example, the crime happened on today. Okay, say crime happened today, 25th of July, but I lost a FIR saying that I lost my phone on 1st of July. That means 25 days before, I already complained to police that my phone is lost. So I can still be safe. So that are some of the challenges. Another is operating system. Every day new operating system are coming up with the kernel, Linux kernel, and there are so many modifications. So if you think from forensic view, forensic expert are not able to cope up with that speed. With the speed, how the technology are changing. Every day new technology are coming up, new operating system are coming up, new features are coming up. Every day operating system are upgraded, especially in case of mobile, right? So tools, the developer of the tools like the NCase or Magnet Magnet Forensic, or think of any FTK, they are not able to come up with updates so rapidly, right? They are not able to come so fast, because of which there are so many issues. We are not able to analyze those things. So because of which criminals are taking the advantages, especially the life system, right? There are life systems, right? Like Tails, okay, Unix. These are some of the operating system which claims that nothing is stored in that system. Okay, even if you analyze the hard drive, you will not get anything from the system where Tel is used as a live operating system. So these are some of the issues. Some other issues which we cannot avoid, okay, which we cannot avoid are encryption. We cannot avoid encryption because that is the backbone, right, of the internet or the technology. Can you keep everything in open? Can you keep your password openly? Can you type your password? Can you send your password transit openly without HTTPS? Not possible. But that encryption, when criminal are using, that is a challenge to the law enforcement, which we cannot avoid. Isolation, right? Sandboxy environment. Sandboxy environment used to say that once you do something on that sandboxy, nothing is skipping from that. So that sandbox environment can be destroyed by a criminal. Okay, you can go and browse some research paper on this. You will be able to know there are so many research that happened on this direction. Isolation of applications. Okay, virtual private network, right? Entire banking system depend on this. But if the criminal are using this VPN, it's a big challenge. We are not able to do the investigation, or there are challenges, right? We are not able to proceed very easily. I'll not say that it's completely secure. Please, the students, if you are thinking that it's completely secure, then you are doing a blunder. Okay, there are so many script kiddie who thinks that since anonymity is given by the tool, I can do anything. But later on, they end up in a problem. They spoil their career, right? So that mistake should not be done. But yes, these are the platform which creates some troubles to the law enforcement. It is not completely uh, uh, like I can say it's a shield, right? It's not a shield. We can investigate, but there are challenges. Tor network fluctuation IP using a Tor network is another challenge. Cryptocurrency, as Mohan was telling, right? But along with cryptocurrency is legal. Let me tell you, Tor network is legal, VPN is legal, isolation is legal, encryption is legal. Okay, all these are legal platform in India also. Okay, but yes, it is not legally declared, but it is not legally declared like cryptocurrency is illegal. Nothing is like that. RBI already said it is okay, right? But cryptocurrency along with the escrow service to fluctuate the bits, that coin, okay, from one wallet to the another wallet, it going from one wallet to another wallet to another wallet, and then they are doing a transaction. So that fluctuation is somehow creating a problem to the law enforcement of the world. It is not only to India, it's to the world. Who is making anonymous. But if the user and the entry node is direct connected, still investigation can be possible. But if user and the entry node, if there is a VPN in between or a proxy in between, it's a problem. Isa, I'll be taking few more minutes. Okay.
So I was about to tell that, like,
Yeah. I know. When I saw you, I understood. Okay. So yeah, some of the things like virtualization, live system, storage encryption, spoofing, anonymous network are some of the challenges. Okay. So in cyberspace, okay, as we know in life, we need a disciplined life, right? We have to be disciplined. If we walk in a highway, you cannot just walk. You should think that there are vehicles which are running and it may hit anytime. But if you are thinking in other way that every vehicle is having a brake system, they will apply the brake. So why should you care? Then you are doing a blunder, right? In the cyberspace, whenever you are going into the cyberspace, you should be concerned about cyber safety. You should be concerned that digital device is not going to lie. Okay, it going to store everything, even in network. Once you create something in digital platform, you cannot delete. It is there forever. For that, you have to erase, and erasing is not that easy. And nobody will erase a server for you. Okay. Thank you so much. This is my last slide. Isa, I think I'm on time, right? So thanks to forensic fraternity. Okay, all the fraternity of the forensic magazine, our forensic journal, especially to Amrit Isa for hosting us. Okay, and allowing us to be here. Any question?
thank you so much, sir. It was an honor having you here. The session is open for questions if there are any. First of all, kindly raise your hands. And okay, sir, there is one question from Abhishek. Abhishek, kindly unmute yourself and you can ask your
Yeah,
question.
he is saying phishing. Okay, in phishing, but he has not typed the question.
Hello. Yes, I am on unmute, sir. In my question, sir, in phishing, sir, where is the money gone, sir? In I want to say in Hindi.
Okay,
Uh,
okay, I
ये
understood.
कहना चाह रहा हूँ सर कि है सर मैं ये कहना चाह रहा हूँ कि जैसे फिशिंग्स होते हैं ठीक है सर कि जैसे किसी
हाँ,
मनी का फ्रॉड होता है या अदरवाइज कुछ भी होता है ठीक है सर तो वो आखिर पैसा जाता कहाँ है सर जो कि हम लोग उसको ट्रेस नहीं कर पाते हैं कि बाय
एग्जैक्टली
चांस
मैं क्वेश्चन समझ गया। मैं बोलूँ इसमें?
यस सर श्योर सर
Okay. In India, why India is a favorite place for the cyber criminal, you know? Because we are having technology, very good technology, but our people are not techno savvy. Okay. Or I can say techno savvy also, but they are not cyber aware. That is the reason I have a YouTube channel, Cyber Safety Awareness also. Okay. It is not for commercial, by the way. It is for safety. I have created few months back. Here, I'll tell you one thing. In India, we have a huge
सर ये वॉइस इज स्टॉप सर
every criminals are targeting our country for committing crime, and there are so many people in the other side who are ready to sell their account for 2000 rupees. Okay, they have a bank account, they don't have money in that, simply they have created a bank account and just it's lying like that. So this criminal, what they do, they travel across India and they collect the account with the payment. They will say to the bank, the account holder, that I'll pay you 10,000 or 2,000, and then they will give the account. And they will take a ATM card, they will go to a metro, okay, city, and then they will withdraw, transfer all the phishing money into that account, okay, into that account, and later on withdraw from that account. And while withdrawing, they take all the precaution to be safe. And second scenario is they may transfer this money into the cryptocurrency. They will buy cryptocurrency using this money, and then they will use through cryptocurrency channel. As I said, there is a escrow service for making that untraceable. Okay, I hope I answered his question. Any other question?
Is there any other question?
Oh, hi. Hello.
Yes.
Could anyone hear me?
Yes, yes.
Oh, yeah. I have a question in regards to like the seizure of
Evidence.
networking devices. For example, a server. Like, how would you seize a server, like for investigation specifically? Are
Okay.
there any steps that you would take to do that?
Okay, let me tell you one thing. Server you cannot seize directly, as all of you know. So we have only one option, that is imaging. Okay, it can be a network based imaging, or if you have a server directly, if the server owner or the responsible person allow, then that is the only option of imaging the server. In short.
Oh, okay. Okay, in
Yeah.
short, basically. All right, cool. Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll be like, it is the last question. Like, if anyone has any question, kindly ask. Is anyone having any question?
I think no, right?
I guess there is one. Avinash, I guess. Avinash, is there any question? No, I guess.
All of them are silent anyway.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful session. It was really an honor to have you here. And thank you so much, Hotan ma'am. We really enjoyed the session. So from here, we come to an end of the guest session. I would like to thank Amrit sir, Rakhi ma'am, and all the interns present here, as well as our guest speakers, for making this session success. Thank you so much, everyone.